Greetings, citizens of the world. This is Anonymous. A fleet of tanks has been photographed on the frozen expanse of Antarctica, and the implications of these images cannot be ignored. A continent long presented to the public as untouched, neutral, and devoted solely to science is now the stage for something far more troubling. Antarctica has been governed for decades by the Antarctic Treaty, an agreement that explicitly designates the land for peaceful and scientific purposes only. Yet these photographs suggest a reality that sharply contrasts with that promise. The presence of armored vehicles on one of the most remote regions on Earth raises serious concerns. Tanks are not tools of climate research. They are not instruments of glaciology. For years, rumors have circulated about clandestine military projects beneath the ice, restricted zones beyond public oversight, and agreements made behind closed doors. These images give new weight to those claims. Transparency has been replaced with silence, and silence with denial. The world deserves answers. Antarctica belongs to no single nation, no secret alliance, and no covert agenda. It belongs to humanity as a whole. We are watching. Expect us.
The frozen expanse of Antarctica has long been regarded as one of the most isolated and least disturbed places on Earth. A land of ice, silence, and scientific exploration, it exists under strict international agreements that forbid military activity and emphasize peaceful research. Yet a recent series of satellite-style images has challenged this long-standing perception, presenting scenes that many believe reveal something far more secretive unfolding beneath the endless snow. These images appear to show multiple heavy vehicles resembling tanks positioned in formation around what looks to be a partially buried object of unknown origin, embedded deep within the Antarctic ice. At first glance, the terrain appears empty and untouched, a vast white canvas shaped only by wind and time. Upon closer inspection, however, distinct shapes emerge. Several large tracked vehicles sit in a deliberate arrangement, each leaving visible trails etched into the snow behind them. The tracks suggest purposeful movement rather than random placement, indicating that these vehicles arrived at the site intentionally and were not abandoned relics from a distant era. Their angular silhouettes and proportions closely resemble armored vehicles designed for extreme environments, raising immediate concern given Antarctica's protected status. Near the center of this formation lies an unusual feature that stands apart from the surrounding snow. It appears as a curved, elongated structure, partially submerged beneath the ice, with a smooth outline inconsistent with natural geological formations. The shape bears a striking resemblance to descriptions commonly associated with recovered unidentified craft, particularly those said to have experienced uncontrolled descents. The object's position suggests impact rather than construction, as if it entered the surface with force and became frozen in place over time. What has intensified interest in these images is the apparent coordination between the vehicles and the object itself. The vehicles seem to encircle the structure rather than approach it randomly, forming a loose perimeter. In several images, one vehicle appears closer to the object, while others maintain distance, suggesting an organized containment effort. The consistency across multiple images implies this was not a brief visit, but a sustained presence, possibly indicating an ongoing operation rather than a single retrieval attempt. The presence of such vehicles in Antarctica immediately draws attention to the Antarctic Treaty, which designates the continent for peaceful and scientific purposes only. Under this agreement, military equipment and operations are prohibited, making the appearance of armored vehicles deeply troubling. While some have attempted to dismiss the images as misinterpretations of research equipment, the size, track patterns, and apparent turrets visible on the vehicles do not align with known civilian or scientific machinery used on the continent. Further analysis of the surrounding terrain adds another layer of mystery. The snow around the object appears disturbed in a radial pattern, as though the ice had been displaced outward from a central point. This effect differs from standard excavation or drilling methods typically used by research teams. Instead, it resembles the aftermath of an impact event, frozen in time by the extreme Antarctic climate. The absence of visible debris scattered across the surface suggests the object may have entered the ice with controlled force rather than explosive energy. Those who believe the object is not of human origin point to the lack of conventional crash indicators. There are no burn marks, no widespread fragmentation, and no visible debris field. Instead, the structure appears largely intact, embedded beneath the surface as if preserved intentionally. This has led to speculation that the object may possess materials capable of withstanding extreme forces, or that it employed some form of controlled descent before becoming immobilized. The vehicles themselves tell a story of urgency and secrecy. Their tracks indicate multiple directional adjustments, suggesting maneuvering rather than straightforward travel. Some tracks overlap, implying repeated passes over the same ground, as though operators were repositioning for observation, security, or extraction efforts. In one image, a lone track extends away from the formation, curving into the distance, hinting that additional vehicles or support units may have been involved beyond what is immediately visible. Antarctica's remoteness has long made it an ideal location for activities that benefit from isolation. With vast regions uninhabited and difficult to access, it provides a natural barrier against observation. The idea that clandestine operations could occur there has circulated for decades, often dismissed due to lack of tangible evidence. These images, however, offer something different: visual documentation that appears to contradict official narratives. Those studying the images argue that if the vehicles were part of a historical expedition, there would be records, abandoned camps, or decaying equipment consistent with age. Instead, the vehicles appear well-defined, their tracks sharp and relatively undisturbed, suggesting recent activity. Antarctica's slow accumulation of snow means that such clear impressions would not remain visible indefinitely, reinforcing the idea that these movements occurred not long ago. The object itself remains the most compelling element of the discovery. Its curved profile and uniform surface differ significantly from natural ice formations or exposed bedrock. Unlike jagged rock outcroppings, the structure appears smooth and deliberate, with symmetry that suggests design rather than chance. Some observers have noted that its outline resembles classic descriptions of recovered aerial craft, fueling speculation that it may represent one of the most significant finds in human history. If the images are genuine, they raise profound implications. The presence of military-style vehicles implies knowledge and involvement at a level far beyond independent researchers. It suggests that certain organizations may already be aware of what lies beneath the ice and are taking active measures to secure it. This possibility aligns with long-standing claims from insiders who have alleged that retrieval operations have taken place in remote regions of the world, hidden from public scrutiny. The silence surrounding the images has only intensified curiosity. No official explanation has been offered that adequately accounts for the vehicles, their formation, or the object at their center. In the absence of transparency, speculation has flourished, driven by the stark contrast between what the images appear to show and what the public has been told about Antarctica's role on the global stage. Ultimately, these images represent more than a collection of strange shapes in the snow. They symbolize the tension between official narratives and emerging evidence, between what is acknowledged and what may be concealed. Whether the object beneath the ice is a remnant of advanced technology, an unknown craft, or something even more extraordinary, its apparent discovery challenges assumptions about Antarctica and humanity's understanding of its own world. The unexplained disappearance of hundreds of vials containing highly infectious viruses from an Australian laboratory has raised serious concerns regarding biosecurity and the oversight of hazardous materials. This troubling event, confirmed by an official report released at the end of 2024, involved the vanishing of 323 vials from Queensland's Public Health Virology Laboratory. These vials contained dangerous pathogens, including hendrovirus, hantavirus, and lyssavirus. The incident has prompted widespread unease among both public health officials and the broader community, as questions mount about how such a significant breach could have occurred and what consequences may still be unfolding. In a surprising twist, the hacking group Anonymous claimed on social media that they had uncovered internal documents related to the missing virus files from the Australian laboratory. According to their posts, the documents revealed inconsistencies in inventory logs and internal communications that allegedly showed officials knew about the disappearance months before it was publicly disclosed. Anonymous suggested that the breach had been quietly downplayed to avoid public panic. Their revelations quickly gained attention, sparking renewed concerns about transparency, accountability, and the possibility of a cover-up. The issue first came to light in the year 2021, when a malfunction was reported in one of the laboratory's freezers. This prompted a closer inspection of the contents, ultimately revealing that several vials were unaccounted for. However, it was not until August of 2023 that investigators officially confirmed the disappearance of the samples. This long delay between the initial discovery and the formal acknowledgement of the breach sparked frustration, as many felt the situation had not been handled with the urgency it warranted. Queensland's Health Minister Tim Nicholls addressed public concerns by noting that while these viruses could, in theory, be used to cause harm, doing so would require an advanced level of scientific expertise. Thus, the immediate risk to the public was considered low. Nevertheless, the inability to verify whether the samples had been destroyed, relocated, or taken has led to growing unease over the protocols in place to secure such sensitive materials. The absence of proper record-keeping and the lack of transparency have left many wondering how closely these facilities are being monitored. Queensland's Chief Health Officer, John Gerard, suggested that the missing samples may have been transferred to another freezer without accurate documentation. Alternatively, they may have been disposed of incorrectly or destroyed during a routine sterilization process. Yet without proper records, these theories remain speculative. Investigators could not confirm with confidence whether the vials had been accounted for or were still untraceable, and this ambiguity continues to cast a shadow over the laboratory's operations. The pathogens involved in this case are among the most serious known to science. Hendra virus, first identified in the year 1994, is a zoonotic virus primarily transmitted by fruit bats and known to infect horses and humans. In human cases, it carries a notably high mortality rate of around 57%. Hantavirus, another zoonotic threat, originates in rodents and is transmitted to humans through contact with contaminated fluids or inhalation of aerosolized particles. The resulting illness, hantavirus pulmonary syndrome, can lead to severe respiratory distress and has a fatality rate of nearly 38%. Lyssavirus, closely related to rabies, is almost invariably fatal once symptoms begin to manifest. Its presence among the missing samples is especially alarming, given its extreme severity. Despite the potential danger posed by these viruses, Queensland health officials have emphasised that there is no immediate public threat. Dr. Gerard explained that such viruses degrade rapidly outside controlled environments. Without proper freezing, the pathogens would lose their infectious capability within a short span of time. He also speculated that the missing vials may have been unintentionally destroyed in an autoclave, a standard procedure used in laboratories to neutralize hazardous biological materials. Still, the fact that such a process was not documented adds to the uncertainty and public concern. One of the most troubling elements of this incident is the significant bureaucratic delay. It took approximately 1 year for investigators to receive clearance to inspect the malfunctioning freezer, during which time no meaningful progress was made in locating the samples. This lag in response has been heavily criticized by both the scientific community and members of the public, who believe that such matters should be dealt with swiftly and transparently. The delayed investigation suggests that more rigorous protocols are urgently needed to handle and track sensitive biological materials. This incident has sparked broader discussions about how laboratories safeguard dangerous pathogens. It has become increasingly clear that relying on manual documentation and outdated tracking systems leaves too much room for human error.